Hello classmates, this is Andrein Galvez and I will be discussing about the variables in research and its measurements. The learning objectives for this report is define what are the variables in research and explain its uses, describe and compare the different types of variables and give examples of each variables, define what are the different measurement scales and its uses in research. Variables are any characteristic which is subject to change and can have one or more value. Samples are intelligence, age, temperature, and many others. In order to conduct our research, we must be able to identify the variables. These variables include dependent, independent, intervening, controlled, and extraneous variables. Dependent variables are the presumed effect. It is the outcome that the researcher wants to understand, explain, or predict. These variables that we calculate through statistics. Independent variables are the presumed cause. Variables that can be manipulated, controlled, or changed. It is what the researcher studies to see the relationship or its effects. In a study comparing the levels of depression among men and women diagnosed with pancreatic cancer and found out that men to be more depressed, the independent is gender and the dependent is depression. Example number 2. Among heart failure patients is reduced gray matter volume as measured through MRI associated with poorer performance in activities of daily living. The independent is the volume of the gray matter in the brain, and the dependent performance of activities of daily living. Another example will be an individual salary will be dependent to the highest educational attainment, skills, competence, and the years of experience in work. Intervening variable. A variable whose existence is inferred but it cannot be measured. In this example, occupation cannot be measured. A higher salary is dependent to one's educational background. Thus, it will conclude that a higher education will lead to a better occupation. Controlled variable. It is a variable that is not allowed to be changed unpredictably during an experiment. In a study which tackles the effectiveness of H3 vaccination in post-exposure Cat3 animal bite patients, the constant variable is the international unit per kilogram of H3 to be given to the patients. The change in the international unit of dosage will affect the post-prophylaxis treatment for these patients. Extraneous variables. These are undesirable variables that influence the relationship between the variables and the subject. Example, an educational psychologist is interested in the effectiveness of new learning strategies that he had developed. One variable will use the new strategies and another group will use the strategy of their choice in learning. Thus, a pre-knowledge in biology will affect the relationship between the variables and the subject in the study. Measurement scales. How are variables measured? According to Sarantakos, variables are not measured at one specific level only. Whether a variable will be measured one way or another depends on how much it is conceptualized and on the type of indicators that have been used during measurement. The same variable can be measured in various ways. Measurement can be done in various levels. Variables in a qualitative research may be measured through a nominal or ordinal measurement, and in a quantitative study using the interval or the rational measurement. Nominal scale, the simplest and the lowest level of measurement. It is a categorized responses. They do not imply any ordering among the responses. Nominal scale examples. For the gender, what is your gender, male or female? Political preferences, it may be independent, democratic, or republican. Place of residence, it may be suburbs, city, or town. There's no specific order in the degree of the responses. Ordinal level. It allows comparisons of the degree to which two subjects possess the dependent variable. Example, when a researcher wants to measure the patient's satisfaction level with the hospital services, these patients are asked to specify their feelings as either very dissatisfied, somewhat dissatisfied, somewhat satisfied, or very satisfied. In this example, the patient's satisfaction makes it meaningful to assert that one patient is more satisfied than the other with the hospital services. Interval level. It is used in a quantitative study. These are numerical scales in which intervals have the same interpretation throughout. Equidistance difference between objects. Example, the Fahrenheit scale of temperature. The temperature difference between 30 degrees and 40 degrees represents the same temperature difference between 80 degrees and 90 degrees. This is because each 10-degree interval has the same physical meaning. Rational level. It is the most informative scale. An interval scale with an additional property that its zero position indicates the absence of the quantity being measured. It provides name, category for each object. The objects are ordered. The same difference at two places in the scale has the same meaning. It is the combination of nominal, ordinal, and interval scale. Thank you for listening. I hope you have learned something from this report.